Field over to Ali, you'll find the same lessons in the extended chapters of the Quran Circle 7. But if you can't, right now, if you can't get it, the Querying Gospel of Jesus Christ will be another valid. It says, Jesus says here, the law forbids adultery. But in the eyes of law, adultery is an overt act, the satisfaction of the sensuous self outside the marriage bonds. So what they say in adultery is anyone that's having sex outside of marriage, you're considered a sinner. That's what the church wants us to say, want us to believe in itself. But what was the purpose of the marriage license? The marriage license only is a license so that you can have sex. But God didn't say in the Bible, get a marriage license, then be fruitful and multiply. He told his creation to be fruitful and multiply. You don't see birds getting married. They're doing what's in nature is natural. But we're in direct violation of natural law. That's what Jesus said now. Now, marriage in the sight of law is but a promise made by man and woman. Again, Jesus said that now marriage in the sight of law, in this system of law, is but a promise made by a man and a woman. It's a promise. It's an agreement. I know people can be like, man, that high priest ain't no joke. These brothers ain't playing. That's what Jesus said. I didn't say that. I'll read it again. Now marriage in the sight of law is but a promise made by man and woman by the sanction of a priest to live in harmony and love. Jesus says no priest nor officer has power from God to bind two souls in wedded love. That's why your preacher go in investing power that's in the state. You never hear him saying the power of God that's invested by me. His power is invested from the state to marry you, not God. Look what Jesus is saying. No priest or officer has the right to marry you. For only God can bind two souls together.
Two souls and not two persons.
Not two persons, two souls. So you finally find out that your true marriage comes directly from divinity. You are the ancient gods and goddesses. See, in this system, you need license to get married, license to drive a car. Pretty soon you want to have license to be a parent. You need license to carry a gun. You need permission that they can revoke, suspend at any time. But they can't revoke or suspend your natural right, your divine birthright. They can't suspend that. That's from God. That's from the Creator. Do you see why I'm calling it the Adept lessons of marriage? Jesus said again, no priest nor officer has power from God to bind two souls in wedded love. What is this marriage tie? He said. It is comprised in what a priest or officer may say. It is the scroll on which the officer or priest has written the permission for the two to live in marriage bonds. You get a permission from someone, from a court, to get married. And you got to live by their laws. And also, too, when you get married and get a marriage license, the state becomes the third party in your marriage. So it's, instead of two people in bed, it's three people in bed with you. Now the state can dictate and control what you do and say with your children through the marriage license. That's why when you get divorced, why you think you got to pay child support? So this is for those who are thinking of getting married. At least you have a better insight of what you're doing and what you're getting into. And those of us that's married, then it should give us a better insight that your blessings come directly from God. And Jesus said, you don't need no priest or officer to stand before you to marry you. God married you. For the Bible says in Matthew chapter 19, verse 6, whatsoever who God put together, let no man put asunder. Let no man put us under. Come on. Any questions, comments so far?
Yes, sir. I heard you talk about sex before marriage and stuff, but how did our ancestors look at sex other than how sex is perceived now?
Sex was the holy marriage. That was the communion to God. Our ancestors always knew that. But now we're up under someone else's thought processes, and we're following their traditions and customs. But that was the ultimate getting back to your divinity, and that was the sacred marriage. Jesus goes on to say, it is the promise of the two that they will love each other until death, a promise. If love a passion that is subjected to the will of man, he asks, is love a passion that is subject to the will of man? No.
In other words, recreation.
Exactly. Is love a passion that is subject to the will of man? No. No. Love is beyond the physical. Can man pick up his love as he would pick up a precious gem and lay it down or give it out to anyone? Can love be bought and sold like sheep? Well, what you think when you're getting married, what you're doing? You are buying each other's love. You are selling each other to each other. Why you got to pay to get a marriage license? Why you got to pay to get married? If this comes directly from God. Like the prophet told the Moors, if you don't want to get married before your grand sheik, then go downtown and buy you a wife. Uh-oh. It is what it is, y'all. What the prophet said? The prophet said, if you don't want to get married before your own grand sheik in the temple, then go downtown and buy you a wife. That's coming directly from the prophet in his oral statements. Now, what have we been doing all this time? It's not our brothers and sisters' fault when they don't know. You can't blame somebody when they don't know it. But now this evening, and those that will be watching these DVDs, you can't say now you don't know anymore. Now you got to do the research. Now you got to do the research. Jesus says, can love be bought and sold like sheep? Love is the power of God that binds two souls and makes them one. There is no power on earth that can dissolve the bond. So when you get married through the Creator, there is no such thing as divorce. There is no such thing as death do us part. Because even in death, you'll be reunited again. The same soul. This is what your ancestors taught in the mystery system. So if I marry someone, I can't marry them. All I can do is be the witness of them making their vows to each other. Because that's how most African cultures, they did that. And we'll get into that, the different cultures and how they got married. We'll do that in maybe another class. It says the bodies, Jesus going, he's still teaching. He says the bodies may be forced apart by man or death. Jesus said the bodies can be forced apart by who? By man or by what? Death. For just a little time. But they will meet again. Now in this bond of God, we find the marriage tie. All other unions are but bonds of straw, and they who live in them commit adultery. So the ones who got these papers and getting married by man is the one who was in the supreme violation of a law against God. And they are the one who commit adultery. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yes, sir.